Hello and welcome to another horror movie review for the month of October. We're gonna start rounding things out. I believe this is the second to the last, the penultimate. Is that the right word? Penultimate. Penultimate? The penultimate review before the month of October is over. I have this one and one more coming out next week. I believe it'll come out on the 31st, so it actually will come out on Halloween. But this review will be talking about 2023's Infinity Pool, a science fiction horror movie. Honestly, I'd say more along the lines of a psychological thriller as well, starring Alexander Skarsgård, Mia Goth, the always lovely Cleopatra Coleman, as well as Jalil Espert, who plays Alban. Very underrated. I don't know. I don't see a lot of people talking about his performances when I was reading other reviews and listening to the different reviews and stuff. No one really talks about him, but I thought he actually did a fantastic job in this. So the film follows James, played by Alexander Skarsgård, and M, played by Cleopatra Coleman, a married couple who take a vacation trip. James is a struggling writer, and M is the daughter of someone who is the head of a publishing company. So as James seeks inspiration, he heads on this vacation with his wife. An accident occurs and they discover the country's dark culture. So I didn't know much about this movie going into it. I had no idea what it was about. I knew the cast because I knew Alexander Skarsgård was in there when I was watching The Northman last year. Earlier this year. And I saw that he was on his filmography that Infinity Pool is listed. As well as Mia Goth, who I heard is fantastic in Pearl and X. I haven't seen any of those. I just saw her in this, and quite the introduction to a fantastic actress. Speaking of Mia Goth, she plays Gabby Bauer, wife to one Alban Bauer, as mentioned earlier, played by Jalil Espert, who are a couple that James and M meet while on vacation. Now, without giving away too many details of the movie, I do want to say that I really enjoyed this. Like I said, I did not know what to expect. I just saw some of the posters and some of the artwork having to do with the movie and the promotional images, stuff like that, and also like screenshots of the movie, stills from the movie. And aesthetically, I have to say this was like brilliantly done. Not sure if Brandon Cronenberg had anything to do with the, I don't say marketing, but the stylistic choices. I'm sure he did. And it was done brilliantly. It immediately grabbed my attention. It had that kind of like neon demon, only God forgives. I almost want to say kind of Blade Runner ish with the color scheme in certain shots. That kind of psychedelic, very neon centric nightlife in terms of some of the images that I saw about the movie before. And when you watch the movie, it's just amplified times 10. I do want to say that this is a very explicit movie. Not sure if that's a thing that people want to know beforehand, before walking into the movie, but it's very explicit. I actually got an NC-17 rating by the MPAA, I believe the major motion pictures or some shit like that, the movie people. And they actually have an uncut version, which is even wilder. A lot of nudity, a lot of sex scenes, a lot of violence. I personally don't have a problem with any of those things, but I understand there's like couples out there who maybe have children. For sure, don't watch this around them. I'd say don't even do the thing where you watch it and then you pause it and then you watch it and then you pause it whenever the kid's in the room. Don't even take that risk. I'd say just wait till they're asleep and watch it on your own. Just wanted to give that little disclaimer. Like I said, didn't bother me one bit. If anything, I thought it highlighted and enhanced in terms of the explicit nature of the movie and in terms of the extremes that these characters go to. And I gotta say, even in the beginning of the movie, there is a sense of uneasiness. There's also a sense of like identity, which is funny the more you watch the movie. Those who have watched it know what I'm talking about. And Alexander Skarsgård does a phenomenal job in this. He playing this kind of really conflicted and also what's another word I could use other than conflicted? He's also a very at a standstill kind of guy. He's kind of a guy that's searching for something, you know. I believe they came to the island for inspiration to do with his writing. And you can tell that right away. You could tell that he is seeking things, even generally like when they hit it off with Alban and and Gabby. He finds out that they are fans of his book. Apparently he didn't have many fans of his book. That little bit of recognition to him seems like everything, and he immediately is drawn to it, and immediately is just like, oh, let's keep hanging out with these guys, which ultimately leads to a calamity of things that end up happening to him. But yeah, fantastic job done by him. Brilliant job by Mia Goth. I mean, she just has this presence. In the last review, when I was talking about De Niro in Killers of the Flower Moon, I said that De Niro had this presence and this kind of weight every time he was on screen. And I think Mia Goth had that for sure. Even her little swag when she's walking up to James to talk to him about something, or even the first time she approaches him, she has this kind of... It's almost like she has something over him, you know what I mean? It's almost like she has something over most people in the room, you know what I mean? That she's like a step ahead. She's like a step ahead of everyone. I thought she was fantastic. There's a scene towards the end of the movie, without getting everything away, where she's like yelling, and she's yelling so much, and she's like yelling at James, and the way she was yelling, man, that shit was killing me, bro. I was like, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? It reminded me of the scene in Jackie Brown, where De Niro, it's funny, we were talking about De Niro earlier, but it almost reminds me of the scene in Jackie Brown where De Niro's character is walking around with Melanie, played by Bridget Fonda. They're kind of walking through the mall parking lot after doing something, and Melanie is just hounding Lewis, played by Robert De Niro, and I mean hounding him. Lewis, just over and over again, this fucking like this constant like, you know what I mean? This constant like in his fucking ear and in the audience's ear. And I think Tarantino did a brilliant job where like it just becomes to the point of annoyance, which I believe that's what the intention was. Something similar here with Mia Goth's character towards the end. Something very, very similar with that. Just that constant sound. And I had no idea that she was British. I saw clips where she's like, I'm a star from, I think it was Pearl, on Twitter and shit like that. I always see certain clips, stuff like that. And I could have swore she was from America, but she's not. She's totally from, I believe, England. So shout out to her, man. I thought she did a fantastic job. But yeah, visually, this movie's fantastic. There's a lot of good colors, a lot of rich shots. There's actually a lot of enclosed. There's actually like a scene in particular where it's kind of in an enclosed area, and I thought they did a fantastic job where the shot is almost feels like it's zoomed in, and yeah, it feels like it's almost zoomed in too much, you know what I mean? It almost feels like it almost feels like whenever you're fucking with your settings on your TV and you're trying to figure out like the picture size, or if you're playing a video from like your laptop and you're trying to like, zoom in a little bit, especially if you have a video in like a 4:8, that kind of like short with the black bars on the side, and you're kind of like, I want to see a full screen, and you kind of widen it out or zoom it in, and it kind of zooms it in a little too much. Very much done here, which it made me feel uncomfortable as someone who's I do photography on the side, and you always want to get like everything centered and everything placed perfectly. And just seeing it, I was just like, zoom out a little bit. But you're supposed to feel that way. You're supposed to feel enclosed and trapped in this country. There's a lot of searching that James does throughout this movie. I think that's the best description I could say it. I could also describe it as a very, very explicit and twisted Twilight Zone episode, or Black Mirror episode for more current people. But set to 10, there's like a very extreme version of that. As far as negatives, I mean, I don't think this movie will be everyone's cup of tea. I think I could say that pretty comfortably after watching it last night. And I have been thinking about it. I was thinking about it before I went to bed, and I was thinking about it at work today. It's definitely not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And I think a lot of people are going to be turned off by the explicit nature that it is. And they're probably just played off as like, oh, he's just, showing sex scenes to be shocking, or he's just doing this to do that. I really think there's more to it. I think they were meant to show the extreme measures people take when searching for themselves. I think that's the best way I could put it. It showcases the extreme lengths that people will go to find themselves. who really are you? And I think a lot of people, I ask myself that all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of have a general idea of what I do: podcaster, videographer, content creator, photographer. But in terms of the stuff that's underneath all that, and as a person, and questions you want to ask, like, how do you feel about this, or how do you feel about that? How do you react to certain information? How do you, I think James was seeking excitement, and he was seeking things that he just was not getting from his life. He was kind of like, his wife kind of cracked jokes on him about financing everything and stuff like that earlier in the movie. And I think he took that definitely in the wrong way. He felt disrespected. He felt lesser than. He felt like he didn't belong. You know what I mean? And it's just, like I said, I think that's the best way to describe it. It's just James trying to find himself in this movie, and find out who he is, and trying to find his identity in all of this madness that ends up happening. But yeah, that'll do for this review. I don't expect this one to be too long, just because I think the movie needs to be experienced, before even like trying to give like a general outline of it without going into too much detail. Is insane, to be honest with you. It's very, very difficult to do, but I really enjoyed it. I think it's worth a watch. Like I said, do not watch this around children. Watch this in the privacy of your home, when everyone's asleep, because it is very, very extreme like that. But I definitely think it's worth the watch, and it's like the same thing as like Black Mirror. Like I said, it's the same thing as like, it's just a very long episode of like a twisted Twilight Zone episode, or a twisted Black Mirror episode. I'd say take it like that. That's the best way I could describe this. Just really, it's really, really well done. Directed well. I'm looking forward to Brandon Cronenberg's next movie. And yeah, that'll do it for this review. We have one more horror movie coming up, so what the fuck's it gonna be? I have no idea. Like I said, Friday I'm seeing a movie with my cousin for this annual Halloween thing that he does, where he rents out a theater. He said that it might be The Exorcist. I think it could be Saw, or a different movie. I'm not exactly sure. So it'd be a surprise, what the fuck is what I'm going to review next week. So honestly, I have no idea. The podcast is dropping Saturday instead of Friday. I know I had posted on my Instagram that it was coming out Friday, but I'm actually going to record with my boy Nicky Saturday. It should be him this Saturday, so that'll happen. If not, I'll probably grab my brother and we'll go record something, just shooting the shit, and kind of catching up on things. But yeah, that'll do it for this review. Let me know what you thought about Infinity Pool. How did you take it? What were the lessons you learned? Did you learn any lessons? How did you feel about it? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Let me know what you think down below. Go ahead and leave a like if you feel so inclined. Subscribe as well. I feel like I don't say that as much, subscribe. If you click the link tree in the description box, excuse me, you'll get to all my socials, my Twitter, my Instagram. I believe Twitch is on there as well. I don't use Twitch, and I have been wanting to live stream again. I think I'm getting the Spider-Man, this part 2, the second Spider-Man game, whenever I get my PlayStation 5. So I'm thinking of just doing this all on YouTube. I don't know if you guys have any experience with streaming or anything like that. Please let me know down below. If I just should do it on Twitch, or should I just stay on Instagram on YouTube. So go ahead, do me that favor, and yeah. God damn, it gets so fucking loud over here on this street, bro. I'm on like a busy ass street. But yeah, man, that'll do it. And till next time, peace.